"Stop embarrassing me," he said, then slapped me in front of everyone at our anniversary party. Glasses froze midair. I didn't react. I just nodded and reached for my phone. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 35 years old. I work as a hotel front desk manager, and I'm known for staying calm under pressure, for handling difficult situations with a steady voice and a clear head. I've been married for years, always trying to hold the family together, keep things running smoothly, make sure everyone was comfortable. My husband is respected publicly, seen as charming and successful by friends, family, and colleagues. At home, things are very different, but I rarely talk about it. My family always tells me to keep things private, to protect the marriage, to not air our problems in public. I've spent years adjusting, staying quiet, avoiding conflict whenever possible. I believed that patience would fix things, that if I just stayed calm long enough, things would get better. I tried to be the perfect wife in front of others, smiling through dinners, laughing at jokes, keeping everything together. The anniversary party was supposed to be a fresh start. I planned everything carefully, hoping it would be different this time, that maybe we could turn a corner. I wasn't loud or dramatic, but I had something they didn't expect. I paid attention, and I remembered everything. If you've ever held everything in just to keep peace, you understand the exhaustion, the weight. Subscribe for more stories like this. Share your experience in the comments if you feel comfortable. Click hype or like if you've ever been pushed too far. The anniversary party was held in a rented hall, filled with family, friends, and coworkers. Decorations hung from the ceiling, soft music played in the background, and laughter echoed through the room, creating the image of a perfect celebration. My husband started drinking more than usual early in the evening. At first it was fine, then he began making small jokes at my expense in front of guests. "She'd be lost without me," he laughed, holding his glass up. People laughed awkwardly. I smiled politely, brushing it off like I always did. But the comments became sharper as the night continued. He criticized me publicly, questioning my role, my effort, even my appearance. I tried to diffuse the situation, staying calm, redirecting conversations, keeping my voice light. During a toast, I stood up and said something simple and respectful, thanking everyone for coming, expressing gratitude. He interrupted me mid-sentence. Then, suddenly, in front of everyone, he slapped me. The sound echoed. The room went silent. Guests looked shocked but unsure how to react, frozen in place. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I quietly stepped aside, my face burning, my hands steady. Instead of reacting, I made a calm phone call. What followed was worse than the slap itself. My husband laughed it off almost immediately, saying it was nothing serious, that I was being too sensitive. Guests tried to normalize it to avoid conflict, some even making excuses for him, saying he'd had too much to drink, that things happen. My relatives pulled me aside and told me to ignore it. "Don't ruin the evening," they said. "People are watching." I stood there, listening, feeling the weight of their words pressing down on me. Then my husband accused me of provoking him, telling others I'd overreacted, that I always made things harder than they needed to be. He painted himself as the victim, the one who'd been embarrassed, the one who'd been pushed. I felt isolated, surrounded by people who refused to see what had just happened. But instead of breaking down, I became more controlled. I stopped trying to protect his image. I watched everyone's reactions carefully, noting who defended me and who stayed silent. I focused on what came next, on the decision I'd already made, months ago. I'm done pretending. What they didn't know was that this wasn't the first time. I'd been documenting incidents for months, quietly, carefully. I kept recordings on my phone, photos of bruises that had faded, screenshots of messages where he'd blamed me, threatened me, belittled me. I had saved proof of repeated behavior, building a file I hoped I'd never need but knew I might. I had a plan they never saw coming. I'd already spoken privately to a professional advisor, a counselor who'd helped me understand my options and my rights. I knew what steps to take, what evidence mattered, what protections were available. I stayed quiet not out of fear, but preparation. I waited for a moment where everything was visible, where there were witnesses, where denial would be impossible. The public setting became the turning point. I knew this time it wouldn't be ignored. I was ready to act. I had consulted an old family lawyer earlier, someone who'd known our family for years and had always been kind to me. I'd shared my documentation with him weeks before the party, sitting in his quiet office, explaining everything while he listened carefully. He advised me on legal protection, on how to handle evidence, on what to expect if I moved forward. After the party, I contacted him immediately from the hallway outside the venue. He confirmed the next steps and supported my decision without hesitation. Meanwhile, my husband became confident again. He mingled with guests, laughing, acting like nothing had happened. He believed the situation would be forgotten by morning, swept under the rug like so many things before. He told a few people I wouldn't do anything, that I never did. My family pressured me to move on, to let it go, to think about the embarrassment. I stayed silent, gathering my strength, waiting. The tension built as authorities became involved. My husband had no idea what was coming. Everything moved toward a public turning point he never saw. Police arrived at the party venue while guests were still present, their uniforms cutting through the celebration like a blade. The room shifted instantly as attention turned toward the entrance. My husband was confused at first, then annoyed, then visibly nervous. He tried to downplay the situation, laughing awkwardly, asking what this was about. Officers spoke calmly but firmly, asking to speak with him and with me separately. I stepped forward, composed, my hands steady now. I provided clear evidence, showed them the recordings, the photos, the messages I'd saved. I gave my statement without hesitation. Witnesses began to speak up, people who'd seen what happened, who couldn't deny it now that someone was asking. The narrative changed in real time. One officer looked at my husband. "We need to take this seriously." My husband's confidence disappeared. His face went pale. Guests realized the seriousness of what had happened, the room filling with whispers and uncomfortable silence. The public image he'd built so carefully started to collapse right there. I remained calm and in control. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I let the truth speak. Authority shifted completely in my favor. My husband faced immediate consequences, escorted out of the venue while people watched. The same crowd that had stayed silent now watched in shock. I left that situation with clarity and control I hadn't felt in years. I began setting boundaries and focusing on my safety, taking steps to protect myself legally and emotionally. I distanced myself from those who had supported silence, who'd told me to endure, to forgive, to forget. I started rebuilding my life on my own terms, finding a new place to stay, reconnecting with people who actually cared. I no longer felt the need to protect someone who had hurt me repeatedly. My confidence grew as I chose myself, as I prioritized my well-being over appearances. I reflected on years of silence and what it had cost me, the parts of myself I'd buried to keep peace. They told me to stay quiet, but the moment I spoke, everything changed. If you've ever been disrespected in front of others and told to stay quiet, you know how powerful that moment is. The fear, the anger, the clarity. Share your story in the comments. Subscribe to stand with people who choose to speak up. Click hype to help this story reach others who need it. Did this story hit home? Let me know by liking the video and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Click hype to help this story find others who felt the same way. Your support makes a huge difference.